All right, folks, welcome to the Personnel Administration Committee. Today is October 1st. Happy October 2024. It is noon here in the HR Council Conference Room. And for those joining us on Teams, welcome to you. We are joined in the room by Councilmember McKim and myself. So we do have quorum. So I call this meeting to order. Item number 2 on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Mr. McKim, do you have any items before I make mine? Or Kim makes hers?
I do not have any.
All right. Ms. Shell, do you have any recommendations for PAC?
Yes, I would ask that you amend the agenda to add the health department, but we have an update with regards to an item from with regards to the director of clinical services. Molly, I, and the health administrator made some changes, and it needs to go back to the board. So we wanted to kind of give you a heads up on what's there. And then we also need to decide on a November date due to, we're going to have several things coming back, and rather than waiting until December.
Okay, great. In that case, I move to have the health department after item number 10. And then immediately following the health department, we'll talk about a November date.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there further conversation? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, unanimous. And I think we've got a good agenda here.
I will note that Councillor Hawk has joined online.
Oh.
Welcome, Councillor Hawk. All right, let's move on to item number 3 in our agenda. The courts, we have Judge Dekoff and Lisa Abraham here with us today. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, this was rolled from our last meeting. I know Jeff McKim was not available. We were instructed to kind of look at our 3 job descriptions. We were focusing at first on the official court order in the event that they are considered excluded, with the salary, with the FSLA on the exempt, in the event that you guys might change them down to exempt. So we have updated actually all 3. The associate and the floating are almost identical, but there's been a lot of changes from when we did this a long, long time ago until the present, that even though it looked like originally they were changed back in the 2020, February 2021.
Yeah.
No changes were actually made since 2005.
Okay.
2021 was just when WIS redid all the classifications for the new salary scale. So obviously there's been a lot of changes since 2005 to the present, which we noted here in the scheduling. So that's what these 3 are all for.
Okay.
Updating them.
Great. Judge Dekoff, do you have anything to add before I seek PAC comment?
No, thank you.
All right. Mr. McKim, any questions or comments at this point?
Yeah, so do we know why the no changes were made when we did the last reclassification, WIS reclassification? And
You want to jump on the accounts now? I was told not to make any changes when we did that 2021. So
I don't recall saying
Yeah.
or having that done, so I can't tell you.
it sounds like there may have been some misunderstanding, some
Yeah.
miscommunication somewhere. Because I think most departments did have their did submit, and you said other departments did submit changes. during
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So, but this is really essentially doing something that probably should have been done when we were.
yes, correct.
Okay.
Ms. Mosier, could you show page number 39 of the packet, which is the org chart?
They do.
Are you the right person or are you the right person?
Yeah.
I didn't know who was driving, sorry.
If that works.
Oh, yep, that's perfect.
Please note that Councillor Hawk has a question.
Oh, sure.
She needs to ensure that her camera is on.
Councilmember Hawk, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Could you turn your camera on and the floor is yours? Councilmember Hawk, can you hear us? All right, well, let's move back to the org chart while Councilmember Hawk gets heard.
Sharing the org chart.
Great, so we see the official court. Go ahead, Councilmember Hawk.
I'm sorry, I think I kept trying to fix it at the bottom of the screen. It was the top of the screen. I just wanted to say that I was surprised when I found out from the courts that it had not been changed in so many years. And so, of course, they need to have someone taking, fresh eyes at this. So I'm happy to support that being done.
Wonderful. And I just for those watching online, the three positions that we're discussing are on the upper left, right there in magenta.
It's a good scripture.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments from? I don't know what color would you say that is?
I say it's pink. but-
Well,
All right. Oh my God. Everyone's a critic.
No, I just like the emphatic way you said magenta.
Everyone's a critic. All right. I think with that,
Move we forward these position descriptions to WIS for classification.
I will second that. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further conversation from PAC or staff?
No.
E, do you have anything? All right, great. All right, all those, let's do roll call because we're
You
online.
do roll call, and Councilor Hawk, if you wish to vote, you have to turn your camera on, please.
Just go ahead with the vote
All right.
to figure out why isn't it?
Mr. McCann.
Oh, wait, here it is.
Aye.
I also vote aye. And without camera, the ayes have it 2-0.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go on to letter B, a request to amend a job description. What do we need to know about this?
Okay, we were asked, again, this is the one where she is exempt, and with the new FSLA, she would not meet the exempt. We have had taken a look that it looks like in all her, 15, 20 years that she's been here, she's only had maybe 8 to 12 comp hours anyway. So moving her down to the non-exempt, it will not be any issue, and that would suffice the exempt issue. We did go ahead and, since hers hasn't been updated either in a while, made some very minor changes on hers, just rewording some of the names. So I don't know if it needs passed on to WIS for the minor changes, because I don't know if you guys are allowed to just do the exempt and non-exempt on your own, but that's obviously.
No, we can't.
You can't. So that's just why this one has been updated.
Okay, great. Looking to PAC for any comments or questions?
Nope, that seems like the right solution.
All right, and Ms. Molly Turner King, you wrote the memo on this. Any questions or comments? All right. In that case, do we have a motion?
Move we forward this to with the position description for family court coordinator to WIS.
Second that. We have a motion and a second. Any further conversation? Ms. Kim, Michelle, do you have any?
This Kim worked.
Do you have any?
No,
right.
no.
All right, in that case, Mr. McKim, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye.
I,
And all right, Councilmember Hawk, we're gonna need your camera on.
I got my camera on. Can you not
It's
see
not
it?
off.
No.
What? I give up. Okay, bye.
Oh, don't give
It's
up.
on my screen.
No, sorry.
Keep trying. Hold on. We've got a lot more
It
agenda to
really
go.
it doesn't matter if you can hear me. You can see that I really don't have an objection, so move on. And
All
I'll see
right,
what's wrong with the camera?
The ayes have it 2-0. Thank you both for being here.
Except for probations.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
That's okay. Unless you want to kick me out.
Oh, there she is. Hey, there's that can-do attitude. All right, let's go to item number 4, Veterans Affairs. We got Mr. Stephen Miller with us today for a request to amend a job description. Tell us what's going on here.
I think my job was also caught up in the exempt, non-exempt piece. And so we went through and kind of took all the job description pieces that I'm currently doing that haven't been identified on the job description, added those all in, and kind of this is sort of a strategic look at the position, adding in more community involvement, collaboration with local, state, and federal resources to maximize the footprint of how many veterans we can actually serve in our community. That's the kind of the 30-second overview of what we've tried to do. I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you have.
Great. Thanks for giving us the short
You're
version.
very welcome. You're very welcome.
Pack, any questions? Yeah, Mr. McKim.
Yeah, I guess I noticed that there are a couple of new job requirements that were added, a degree requirement or equivalent, and also some certification requirements. I was just wondering if you could address the importance of those.
Absolutely. So the education, first of all, we made that change to the assistant veteran service officer position earlier this year. And it only made sense that if both would have the same education, at least the same education qualifications. And then with the different, there are kind of, I retooled the way that the accreditation lines read to make them more succinct and clear. There's an accreditation requirement from the state that would be accredited with different veteran service organizations so that we can adjudicate claims.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Hawk, do you have any questions or comments for Veterans Affairs?
No, I've already spoken with him about this.
Excellent. I will offer a comment. Last night, we heard from PALS, the horse therapy organization in town. And yeah, they said that they were working closely with veterans in one of their new programs and had talked with you about it.
Absolutely.
So this move towards more community involvement is already happening, and we're just so happy to hear that.
That's fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're getting that kind of feedback.
Yeah. All right. Is there a motion?
Move we forward the Veteran Service Office Administrator to, or I'm sorry, what is the actual title?
Veteran
Sorry,
Service Officer Director.
Director to WIS for classification.
I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further conversation? Ms. Molly Turner King, you wrote the memo on this. Do you have anything to say? Okay. We're good. All right. All those in favor, let's see. Marty Hawk, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McKim, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Peter Iverson votes aye. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll get that off and just be in touch with Michelle.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, next, we'll move on to our Recorder's Department. We have here Department Head Amy Swain, and we are reviewing a WIS recommendation. What's going on?
So this is from the last PAC meeting where we wanted to reclassify an existing position that's currently doing many of the added duties that are listed in the job description. I worked with Michelle to revise that job description before we sent it to WIS on recommendation of PAC committee. And we have their recommendation back to add this or reclassify this position as a senior deputy recorder or senior recorder deputy at a Comot speed.
Excellent. We are showing exactly what you said on the screen, so thank you, Ms. Shell. PAC members, do you have any questions or comments? Mr. McKim?
Yeah, so the existing deputy positions, are they all Comet Bs or what?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody in the office other than the recorder and chief deputy are Comet Bs, and this will create the kind of third in command. Okay. All right.
Councilmember Hawk, do you have any questions or comments?
None?
All right. I don't either, so I think this is pretty straightforward. Mr. McKim, do you have a motion for us to entertain?
Move we forward the deputy recorder position to the council, senior recorder deputy position to the council with positive recommendation.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any further conversation? All right, we're good to go. Councilmember Hawk, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McKim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Iverson, I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. See you at council.
Thank you all.
It's weird talking about myself in third person. All right. Next, we'll move on to the probation department. We have Linda Brady here with us, as well as Judge Dekoff. We're reviewing a WIS recommendation. Walk us through what's going on here.
I think that WIS recommended reclassifying Melissa Wallace's, our office administrator's job by, I think, one step up from a B to a C, I believe.
Yep.
And so I would request that be able to pursue that for next year. And then the other is, it's a new position, a data analyst for our local JRAP, which is Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council. And we had put that position in our budget request for 2025, but we asked to remove it because we were going to see if we can get different funding, which we're still pursuing the different funding. So we still want to go ahead and get this job, I guess, approved, or just the job description approved, so that when we get money, hopefully, that we'll be ready to go with that.
Excellent.
And the other thing we're gonna say about it is that based upon the statutory requirements that the General Assembly put in place about JRAC and what they're requiring, this position is really a necessity for us and for the JRAC, which is also a community kind of service position. So we want to get the description there so we can get Liz to look at it, but then we're going to continue to look at other funding. You'll also be happy or not happy to know that when we had the annual conference, there was a discussion in the district meetings about some of the things that are being required, and is there going to be funding? It doesn't seem to be real positive about that, but we're still going to keep looking at various other ways to do this. But we just thought it'd be best if we could get this description.
Thank you. And we got a little sneak peek to this during the budget hearings, so that was helpful. Any questions or comments from PAC members? Mr. McKim?
I mean, this is more comment. I strongly support the creation of this position. I am, of course, nervous about the funding situation. I appreciate the courts looking elsewhere, and I hope you are successful. Because that's obviously an issue for us. But as far as the position goes, I think given the requirements of JRAC and the value that JRAC can add, and the more active JRAC can add to the community as we embark upon a new jail, this is valuable.
Thank you, Mr. McKim. Councilmember Hawk, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions?
All right.
No.
Thank you. I would echo Mr. McKim's statements that JRAC is so important, that this is very valuable to the council. So I'm very much in favor. Mr. McKim, do you have a motion?
No, actually, I wondered if Councilor Hawk just had any comments about the financial manager position, just because I know she tends to keep up on the kind of the classification and status of financial managers throughout the county.
Right. I do have concern that we continue to grow the expenses of financial managers throughout the county, and they're not always equal. Just make up a title and call them a financial manager does not mean they all have the same type, maybe at all the same kind of responsibilities. So that's my take on it. I think we need to look at all of them, not just one.
I'm thinking you're talking about a different, because ours is office administrator, not a financial. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were talking about ours.
Well, I was, because there are some financial that, that is in the very first.
Right, because
sentence.
we don't have a financial manager in our department, so it had to go to somebody, and so that's.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Always nice to have a diversity of opinions. All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I move that we forward the two positions to the county council for approval with positive recommendation.
I will second. We have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions, Michelle? Okay, Molly Turner King. No, all right. Councilmember Hawk, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McKim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Iverson, I vote aye. Motion passes unanimously. I'm gonna have a personality disorder after this.
So Kim, let us know.
Yes.
We have to be on the agenda, I guess. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Good to see you.
I see you.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the auditors department. We have Bree Gregory, our department head, here with us for a review of WIS recommendations, 2 of them in fact. What's going on?
That's right. Carly Woodruff is also here to assist, the financial director. Sorry. Anyway, this should be familiar to you. We've discussed this, and you agreed to have our job descriptions updates go to WIS. They have since come back and the recommendations were everything stayed the same essentially, except for job title. WIS recommended that we have two accounts payable financial administrators, which we don't agree with. We feel strongly they missed the mark on this. Perhaps we need to review the job descriptions again with the council office and make some changes. However, I think it's a waste of time and resources to wordsmith these things to get them right. That's not what we want to do here. We want people to be classified accurately based on their duties. And just being disappointed with how these came back. And I think that disappointment was shared amongst others. We did some research and just kind of comparing similar positions and duties across the county and found that that actually provided some ammo to come back here today and talk with you a little further and ask for reconsideration. So, for example, the claims team employees mirror internal and external positions paid at higher levels than the recommended classification for three positions that we looked at closely: the general ledger and grants manager 1, the internal auditor 2, and actually the payroll administrator as well. The claims administrator and the payroll administrator, although different, have the same type of duties overall, and the same sort of expertise is required. So I just ask that you review the information we provided on Friday afternoon toward the end of day. And we're here to answer any questions and assist you to better understand, I guess, what the positions entail.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, please, yeah.
Just wanted to offer Carly the opportunity to speak as well.
I'll let you guys discuss, and if I need to jump in, I will.
Okay, great. Mr. McKim, do you have any thoughts or comments at this point?
Well, I guess my question is, my understanding is that, well, it appears that that WIS may have not supported a reclassification, probably because the actual scope of job duties, they did not perceive there to be an actual increase in the scope of job duties, rather clarification of existing duties. I mean, was there an additional scope of responsibility that was added to the new positions? And if so, what was that additional scope?
Why don't you go ahead, Carly?
There were quite a few items added. We brought the red line version, and
we have those in the back.
Yeah, there's a much deeper level of auditing that is being explained in these job descriptions. The assistant financial director was currently not doing any claim studio, and those were added to her job. So those are a full new set of expectations that were not previously expected of that role.
Additionally, these positions also, they look to Indiana code, they look at county policy and procedure. They're auditing to ensure that we are following our own policy and procedure as well as that state code. And they're communicating with the State Board of Accounts. They're talking with our legal team. They're providing basically oversight and training for all the county financial team. So that's in other offices as well, because we provide the procedure and guidance for all of the county with regard to financial practices, that, claims and so forth, grants, all of the things. And all of the financial team, I mean, they work so closely and it's all closely intertwined, and it's all just a really high level of detail and expertise. And developing those policy and procedures to ensure we're constantly maintaining best practice. I mean, that's just another level on its own as well. So we want to maintain the amazing staff that we have, and we want to maintain that institutional knowledge and ensure that people are being paid and their pay reflects the job that they're doing. So, like I said, when looking at, similar positions and seeing a different classification, when they truly are. I mean, some of them like almost mirror exactly, like payroll administrator, for example. It's just really concerning that I don't know if we missed something when writing the descriptions, if we didn't word something appropriately. That just seems unreasonable, though. I mean, we're happy to do whatever it takes for everyone to gain a full understanding of what these people do, these positions entail.
I'm curious, yeah, I'd like to hear from you.
As the department that has the payroll administrator, and I also worked in the auditor's office previously. I did claims, I've done payroll. Our current payroll administrator was the claims person. So I feel like I can say that the duties that they are doing may not, the data is different, but the tasks are the same. And it surprises me that they are not classified the same, because they are doing that same kind of auditing. They are doing taxes. It's a different, we're doing different types of taxes, but they're responsible for the taxes and communicating to employees, that sort of process. The education, the training, it's all relatively the same. And so what makes the job description for payroll set at one factor and then claims a little bit different? I'm not sure what language needs to be in there, but I think that the person in our office who was previously in that position would argue that they felt like, those were the duties that they were doing when they came up to our office. It's the same thing. So there is a little bit of that feedback that I've gotten from folks too.
Well, thank you for that. I see Councilmember Hawk's hand. Had you concluded?
Yeah, I had another thought, but go ahead.
Okay, Councilmember Hawk, let's go to you, and then we can come back into the room.
Right. Well, what I have to say should not be a shock to anyone. I haven't changed my take on this from the get-go, from the prior administration in the auditor's office. In my opinion, we try to, in Monroe County, do something different than the other counties were doing. And so the auditor gave up the rights and the responsibilities of the payroll administrator. They gave up the rights to the budgeting process and the salary ordinance. And so that really, I believe the auditor should be one of the highest paid positions in this county. And their positions, and this is no change, Brianna. I've said this from the get-go, even before you were the auditor, that you need to take back these responsibilities back into the auditor's office where it belongs, because it is messing up the whole hierarchy of how this is supposed to work. And then you have one person who's over the different sections of payroll, the different sections of budgeting, et cetera. And that one person is the auditor. As we have it changed now, we've got these separate offices over these separate duties instead of under the auditor. And it just is, it's not the way had been set up by, I don't think you're going to find many counties doing this. And I know we like to be different, but when different means we're not working well together because, or maybe we are, it's like, okay, each office gets a raise and then the next three gets a raise and keeps going around a circle. So I don't support this simply because I think we need to encourage the auditor to take back the role, the entire role of the duties of the auditor. That just means she's over payroll. She's the one over payroll. And then she can come back to us and say, this is what I've done to realign my office. Okay, so I'm the only one who thinks that. That's fine. But I'm not the only one in the whole state that thinks that, believe me. So
Well, thank you,
there's my 2
Councilmember
cents.
Hawk. Yeah, please.
If I may, thank you, Counselor Hawk. It's always great to hear your opinion and your take on things. I will share that I am part of a county auditor email group. And I think we are unique in that the payroll is not under the auditor. However, having said that, I think what we're doing works really well. I mean, my office, the royal we here, the auditor's office works really well with employee services. We have a great relationship. We have access to all the information. We work closely together. And, as much as, as much as we do things differently, it works. And it works well for the county. And I don't necessarily, I mean, it is an auditor statutory duty. However, I'm very much involved and it works well. And I hate to upset things that are working well. And I feel like we've bettered our processes and procedures, kind of spreading things out a bit so we can do things better. We have more people involved so that processes are completed and we can fine tune things. With regard to, just the other duties under the auditor, the budget, I mean, that is still my task. Kim and I work very closely together. I maintain and handle all the statutory duties. I just have a partner, which works best for the county. It ensures things aren't missed. It's best practice that there's two sets of eyes on everything, more than two sets of eyes, but certainly ours, Michelle's eyes and mine. So respectfully, I think what we're doing works very well.
Well, thank you. And I think, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, regardless of who is doing the functions of payroll or of claims, the job still is being done. Whether it's with a very close partner in employee services or it's within the auditor's office, the job and the functions of the job are still the same. And even if that position was in the auditor's office, we would still be having this discussion of these two positions do the same task and they should be paid equitably.
Okay. Mr. McKim.
So I'm just curious if, in terms of trying to understand the difference in classifications, if consequence of error is an issue here. Because when I think of payroll, when I think of an error in payroll, it makes the front page of the newspaper when the county messed up payroll. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe you all can tell me what's the consequence of error with a claims administrator.
Well, I think we would also make the front page of the paper if we had an issue with 1099s or if we were not paying vendors accurately or within a reasonable time frame. So I think there's repercussions regardless of where you are. We're just doing our jobs very well.
Additionally, if they mess up claims, I mean, our lights go off, we don't have water in public buildings. There are essential county functions that would not happen if we did not have our claims paid in a timely manner.
And that's where we're also catching issues. Like there is a statutory requirement for prepaids right now that we complete a certain process. And so I guarantee if we have an issue with a large project or purchase and we're not following, that's also going to make the paper. So we'll see Boris reporting on that if that becomes an issue.
All right. Would you mind pulling up the org chart on page 92? All right, we got it right. Okay. In an effort to move us forward, because we have 3 other departments waiting for their turn as well, my understanding of what you're asking, and this is my limited understanding, is that the current Pat B for accounts payable director, you are arguing that that should at least be on level with the general ledger and grants manager.
And the payroll administrator, yes.
Yes.
Patsy in our office.
Right. So both of the pink highlighteds you are arguing should be at the same level as same work.
Okay, so the main accounts payable administrator, for lack of a better term, I would envision being a Pat C.
Mm-hmm.
The other, probably a step.
In a perfect world, I think it would be a C because the other functions that this role does are at a Pat C level. I would understand if it fell at a Pat B, but in an ideal world, it would be a Pat C.
Okay, so we have WIS's recommendation We have a red line job description. We've got an org chart. We have an understanding of how WIS could have gotten to this point based on what we know. And we have an expertly written memo outlining your positions and what you are hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it sounds like this is gonna be something that the council is gonna have to decide. So I think we should just throw it to the council. I mean, clearly there's that Councilor Hawk has a fair point overall. Although I'm agreeing with the auditor that the current division works. So I'm not, I wouldn't want us to try to go back on the current division. I think that's worked really well.
If I could just say, it was, Auditor Gregory said something about taking it back and maybe rewording it or something. I think at this point, you're just, that's not worth another look or delay.
I don't want to waste resources.
Right.
Agreed.
And there is no magical sentence. We can put
Right.
job descriptions that's going to guarantee.
And we don't want there to be.
No. So there's no magic here.
I think the job descriptions accurately reflect what these people are doing. So I think it just comes down to it's a fiscal, which then needs to go to council.
I mean, I appreciate E and the auditor and Carly's explanation here. You know what? Let's just punt this to the council. I move that we forward this request to the county council with a neutral recommendation.
I'm going to second that and immediately go to Marty Hawk, who has a hand raised.
Right, I didn't hear the motion. Send it with with what?
We're
Send
going
it
to
to
send it
the,
back to council.
with what? Not with recommendation, with just no recommendation. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
right. It's council's decision.
Right. And remember that when we send it off to WIS and they're looking at other counties, they're not finding another county that's set up the way they are. And that might very well be the reason for the disparity in the classification. But this is no shock to anybody about my concerns about the direction we've went. If they were all under the same umbrella, there'd be opportunities for major cross training. We'd never have to worry if somebody was out sick or on vacation, et cetera. However, I'm perfectly willing to send that on to the council and let them decide. I expect it'll go through because they're so happy to say yes to everything. So.
We
Okay.
are a happy bunch, Councilmember Hawk. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. We have a motion on the table. I want to bring it back to you. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Can I just make one comment? I think that Carly's memo about the other positions and financial managers and office managers and other departments and their classifications, and then looking back at the classification of these positions, I think there is a lot of weight in having lower classified positions telling other departments and higher classification what to do. And if there is a way for us to kind of streamline that so it's a little bit more consistent, because I think that creates a little bit of problems countywide of some inequity or folks not listening or taking those recommendations from people and then not having to escalate up the ladder sometimes.
Well taken.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Cheryl.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And once again, if we had someone with a higher classification within that's already there doing the duties, that would be a higher classification to work with these folks in the other departments, that might be better taken.
Thank you, Councilmember Hawk. Ms. Shell, do you have any last comments
No, I
or
don't.
questions? Electronic, do you have anything to say about this? All right, let's take a roll call vote. Councilmember Hawk, how do you vote?
Yes, to move forward without recommendation.
Mr. McKim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Iverson votes aye. The motion carries unanimously. We'll see you at a to be determined council meeting. Yeah, you're welcome. So let me, before we move on to the highway, just real quick, in your memo, you had indicated both the pay classification and the job titles. I would work with Michelle to draft whatever you want to go to council about.
Perfect.
In terms of how you're going to talk to council about it, okay?
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, next item, we have the highway department with us, Lisa Ridge, and I know Kelsey's with us.
She's not here.
Okay, great. We've got a review of WIS recommendations for 3 items. What's going on here?
I'm just here to go with what WIS has recommended.
Okay. Easy peasy. You waited 45 minutes for it. Thank you.
I guess I get confused on the process here because, I don't know. It just seems like, I mean, I wasn't happy with a reclassification I did 2 months ago on one of our secretaries in the department because of the claims process not working or changing and our workload changing. I accepted what WIS came back with. Maybe I didn't write it fancy enough, but then it seems like everybody just keeps coming back to PAC and we completely go against WIS anymore. It's lost a lot of weight in my department, a lot of faith in the process, because we just keep going. And I'm not pinpointing any certain department, any person, any job. I have a financial manager. Do I agree with that classification? No, I know what my highway department does. I know the budgets we have compared to other departments. And my other secretary is a comment. And it's just, and I'm sorry, but I've been here 37 years and it seems like we're going backwards again after we fixed everything perfectly really well in 2020 when you guys invested all of your time and finances for everybody. And it seems like we're just going backwards again. So sorry.
I appreciate your comments. This is the right time and place to share those too.
And do I agree with everything WIS comes back with? No, I don't. But I thought that's the process. We pay them to do their services. Yeah, maybe I didn't. And for me to come back and then say, well, I just want to rewrite the job description again. Is that fair? I mean, so.
I saw Mr. McKenna's hand first, and then we'll go to Ms. Hawk.
I am super confused. I apologize, but I'm just really confused. So there are 3 positions here.
Yeah.
Are you disagreeing with the class? Is there a particular of these classifications that you're disagreeing with?
No,
Or all of them, or?
These 3 are, I will accept.
Okay, all right.
I guess I brought it up because you keep bringing up financial managers and such, and I do have a big department. And my job classifications have been turned down and I accepted those. But the last 6 months, I've seen it completely go against the process that you have set out as a resolution, I believe, of what the process is. But, so yeah, I'm okay with these 3.
Councilmember Hawk, do you have any comments or questions at this point?
Yes, I think we need to remember that all the departments are watching what PAC does. And I've said this the last 2 or 3 meetings, or maybe privately. I thought I said it publicly, that we've gotten off of our mission and our directive, which is all these things were supposed to happen early spring, so that the council could look at all the changes that's being requested to make the decision before we ever started putting budgets together. And now here we are working all the way through the budgets and getting these last minute changes. And so either PAC doesn't understand what we're supposed to be doing, or the rules have changed drastically. And that's the reason why I've asked to be relieved of this position, because evidently what we were trained to do years ago has been changed so much that it just feels like the department heads no longer have faith in what we're doing, because it seems to be if we work closely with one group, we'll work harder to get them through. And I know that there's a feeling that, well, look what happened when reassessment came through, what the assessor's office came through. Remember, that was because that had drug on the entire however many months because we couldn't get an answer. So there's the difference between that and you can't just keep bringing things back and bring it back and get it changed until you get what you want, or maybe you can. So
Well,
anyway.
Thank you for your comments. I will say, we work really hard to expel any type of favoritism from this process. So we try and work as equally as we can with every department. So I really want to push back against that we're not treating anybody differently as much as we can. So, but at the same time, I do want to get to these three WIS recommendations. We do have two other departments waiting for us. So
They seem straightforward to me. I move we forward them to the three recommendations to the county council with favorable recommendation.
I'll second that. Any further conversation? Ms. Shell? Okay, great. In that case, let's take a roll call vote. Councilmember Hawk,
Yes.
Councilmember McKim,
Aye.
Councilmember Iverson, aye. All right, they are adopted. Thank you.
Sorry.
Let's continue the conversation.
And again, I'm not pinpointing any department at all.
Yeah,
It's just the overall process.
And again, this is the right time and place to say what you said.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 9, which is Employee Services Department. E. Sensenstein is here with us to review 4 more WIS recommendations. What is going on here?
At the last meeting, we talked about kind of a restructuring of our department, reworking through job descriptions, adding a 4th position in our office, and I'm fine with the
Okay, great.
results that came back from this.
And we've got the org chart pulled up on the screen. Councilmember McKim, do you want to first crack at comments or questions?
No, other than I think that this is a long time in coming. I mean, we used to have an HR director, and we kind of took a step back because we had to. There were issues, and they needed to be corrected. And I feel like the solution helped stabilize county HR functions for a long time and moved us a long way. But I think an organization of this size absolutely needs an HR director. And needs the HR staff. We are as it is, even if we approve everything here, we are still under-resourced as far as HR compared to the number of HR positions that we probably should have given our FTEs. So yeah, that's my thought.
Thank you, Mr. McKim. Councilmember Hawk, do you have any comments or questions?
I think I've already made my position clear on this.
Thank you very much. I'm very much in favor of moving forward on this. So let's hear a motion.
I move that we forward these requests to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second, we have a motion and a second. I would ask you what you think about this, but you just told us what you think about it. Michelle, do you have any comments or questions?
No.
All right. Let's go ahead and take a roll call vote. Councilmember Hawk,
No.
Councilmember McKim,
Aye.
Councilmember Iverson votes aye. The motion passes 2-1. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to our health department. You'll recall at the beginning of the meeting, we added this as an agenda item. And we have Lori Kelly, department head for the health department, joining us on, what is this, Teams? Ms. Kelly, what's going on here?
So as Michelle mentioned earlier in the meeting, she and I and Molly and one of the board members met yesterday. We did revise the director position that was previously the director of clinical service and case management. And we've revised that to just a general health services director position. So the request is to move forward with these changes. The Board of Health is planning on meeting on October 8th to review and officially approve this job description. So I think that's pretty much the update that we'll have from there, and then how we need to proceed with the rest of the process.
Excellent. And for those watching, we are now sharing a red line version of that job description. It is not in the packet. So take a look at your screen here. Ms. Shell is sharing it. Let's see. Since names were revoked, I'm going to go to Ms. Molly Turner King first.
So just as a reminder, procedurally, this used to be titled the Director of Clinical Services, and it was a position tied to the Futures Clinic. At the last PAC meeting, the guidance was, please work with council office, update this, and it was ready to move forward to WIS. So when we started updating this, it was clearly a different position than what was previously described to PAC, in the sense that one of the recommended changes was moving a different division of the health department under the supervision of this clinic position. And that hadn't been previously discussed. And so since the changes were so drastic, we felt that it was probably appropriate to bring it back to PAC for an update. And then you can decide where to go from there.
Thank you so much. Ms. Shell, do you have anything to add before I go to Mr. McKim?
No, I believe that with regards to the changes with the futures, that has all been struck out, and then the new duties are reflected as to moving forward with a health services director.
Okay. Mr. McKim.
So what is the action that's being sought here? Is it to send this to WIS for classification after the health board approves it? Or-
That would be my recommendation.
Yes.
Councilmember Hawk, do you have any questions or comments?
Right, comment. The original request, which was brought to us at the last meeting, I believe that was the last meeting, correct? That we had?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, and then for whatever reason, there was a comment made by a member of the board. Hopefully that wasn't something that Ms. Kelly believed, was that we were fully aware that they were going to lose this grant for family planning. We were not fully aware. And to my recollection, every time the health board brought us something and we had to work with them, we wanted to work with them to make sure that their requests were in line so that they could get the right kind of information back from WIS. And so to allow the public to believe that this county, the PAC meeting, was in some way responsible in any way that we lost that grant for the family planning is just unconscionable and not appreciated at all. And I just felt like there was a time to say that, and this is the time to say it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hawk. I will note, I'm still getting emails asking me about this
Yes.
very topic, and I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Hawk, clarifying this topic. Mr. McKim.
And I will say the same thing. I received an email from a member of the public who was concerned about the statements that were made.
Yep.
I actually responded to that with a detailed list of links to public meetings, public meeting minutes, public meeting videos that will dispel that myth that PAC or county council was responsible for the collapse of the clinic or was aware. So I'm happy to release that letter publicly as well.
Please do that.
I'm asking
Councilmember McKim to release that information to the public if you're willing to.
I'll forward it to you. You can take a look
Thank you.
first.
My question is on process. Once this goes to the health board, will it come back to us or will it go straight to WIS?
If you decide that it can go following the board meeting, it does not have to come back.
Okay. All right. Mr. McKim, are you thinking of a motion?
Yes, I move that we forward this to WIS for classification contingent upon approval by the health board.
Second.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other comments, clarification? All right, hearing none, let's take a roll call vote. Councilmember Hawk.
Yes.
Councilmember McKim.
Aye.
Councilmember Iverson. Aye. The ayes have it. So Ms. Kelly, you have a red line job description ready for your health board.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. All right, next on our agenda, we need to look at our calendars for November. Ms. Shell, do you have recommendations for a November meeting?
So Okay, normally we would have a Tuesday meeting and it would be the first Tuesday of the month. But unfortunately,
It's okay, Travis. Yeah.
yeah, it's an election day.
Oh, and election day, yes.
It's election.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for some.
My
But,
goodness.
So we can either have a meeting on the 6th, if we want to keep it that first week, or whatever date works best for the group. I just recommend that we do have one since we are sending so much stuff off to WIS so that we can get it back hopefully before the end of the year.
And I also would anticipate in November, a request to change the executive assistant position in the public defender's office because of that FLSA change.
Yes, so many FSL, I can't
Yes,
say it.
the FLSA changes.
All right, I'm looking at my calendar. Ms. Hawk, well, that's not germane, is it? Councilmember Hawk. Mr. McKim, does a noon meeting on any of those days that week work for you?
So say those,
I
so
was
that
thinking
was,
that first week of November, so like the 6th, 7th, or 8th at noon.
I mean, the 8th is ideal for me, if that's possible, but.
I am also available on the 8th. That is a Friday
Okay.
at noon. Will that be a problem for you or any of our department heads?
No.
All right, let's get it on the books and advertise it.
Okay. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right, let's move on to item number 11, which is really item 13, I think.
Yeah.
It's the approval of summary minutes as presented. Are there any changes? All right, hearing none, can we just accept those by acclamation or no? Because she's on.
She's online.
All right.
Sorry.
I'll take a roll call vote. Councilmember Hawk. This is on the minutes.
I'm going to pass. I wasn't at that last meeting.
Right, Councilmember Kim.
Aye.
Councilmember Iverson, aye. The motion passes 2-1-0. Or.
2-0-1.
pass.
2-0-1.
All right, great. Before we adjourn, I wanted to very publicly thank Councilmember Hawk for her service to PAC, and just wanted to publicly state that having a diversity of opinions and diversity of thought is invaluable in public service. And Councilmember Hawk has never shied away from disagreeing with me or Mr. McKim. And I think that is of great benefit to the taxpayers and to the employees of Monroe County. So Councilmember Hawk, we hold you in high esteem.
Thank you. It has been sometimes a real pleasure.
Well, we hear you. And I think that is an ideal time to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.